Don't take it too much to heart, Miss Bennett. They're not a bad bunch.
You should be with the others, Birdsworth.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to wish you luck in your new job and to say that I'm sorry that you lost somebody close to you, because I know what that's like.
Thank you, Birdsworth. Now you better get along.
And I'm not glad to see you go, Miss Bennett. Better the devil you know.
Well, that's D block settled for the night. Where's the guest of honor?
She's not here yet. Help yourself to a drink.
Thanks. Well, that's funny. She signed out ages ago.
Hello, Miss Bennett. Party over already?
No, I can't stay.
Oh, all the best then. Look after yourself.
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Vera's not exactly my best friend. Still, that business with Terry Harrison was a bit much. No, you can't help feeling sorry for her.
I'm sorry for you losing someone close to you.
Oh, I just hope she's able to make a fresh start at Barnhurst. Oh, I'm sure you meant well, Meg. You always do. But I'm quite capable of looking after myself. Thank you very much.
You know, there's something very funny about the atmosphere in this place today. Something is definitely different.
Yeah. Now, I wonder what it is.
The place doesn't smell the way it usually does either. Have a sniff.
All right, what's the matter with you lot?
Nothing. Bee's just saying the place don't smell like it usually does.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, there's usually a distinct smell of vinegar in the air, but it's not here today. I wonder why.
I got it. That's it. Vinegar. The place doesn't smell the same because Vera's not here anymore.
You're right, Doreen. They must have had the place fumigated.
That's very funny, ladies. What makes you think now Miss Bennett's gone things are going to be any easier?
Things couldn't get any worse, Mrs. Powell.
Well, I wouldn't bank on that.
Reckon she knows something we don't they always?
I wonder if they've lined up a replacement for old vinegar chicks yet. What do you reckon, Lizzie?
Hey? Oh, sorry, Bea, I wasn't listening.
I was just saying, have you heard anything about a replacement for Vera?
No. Anyway, won't make any difference. They're all the same.
Not quite. Some are a little more conscientious than others. Like Jock Stewart, Terry Harrison, for
And
instance.
Vera Bennett.
You know, I've been thinking. I reckon there's a way we can convince them that we don't need a replacement for Vera.
How?
Well, it'll take a little more effort on our part. It'll be worth it if it works.
I'll relay you here, Officer Powell. Mrs. Davison wants to see you in her office.
Any idea what she wants?
No, she's not always in the habit of taking me into her confidence.
Oh, Mr. Fletcher. I hear word that you're leaving Wentworth and taking up as assistant to Governor Bennett at Barnhurst.
As usual, Smith, you heard wrong.
Oh, but why didn't you get the job, Mr. Fletcher? I mean, you got so much more experience.
Yeah, and surely your seniority would have counted.
For your information, I didn't apply.
This time.
Shut up, Smith, and eat your breakfast.
Whatever you say, Mr. Fletcher.
Come in.
Oh, Mr. Fletcher said you wanted to see me?
Yes, Mrs. Powell. Sit down. Now that Miss Bennett has left us, it will mean reorganization of the staff. I've spoken to the department, and it seems it could be some time before they can find a suitable replacement.
Yes.
This being the case, and as you are the most experienced remaining staff member, I would like you to take over as acting chief prison officer, for the time being at least.
Thank you very much.
However, this does raise the problem of you remaining as the union representative. It's up to you to decide one way or the other.
What are my chances of this position becoming permanent?
Well, it will have to be gazetted, of course, but it will depend on you and how you apply yourself to the added responsibility.
I'd like to give it a try.
Good.
Thanks, Mrs. Davidson. I'll do my best to make the position permanent.
God, how long's this going to go on for? I'm buggered already.
Keep them coming, Doreen. I told you it might mean a bit of extra effort.
Yeah, but we're already miles ahead, and we're going to start dropping like flies if we don't get a rest soon.
Okay, you're doing great. All right, come on, let's take a break.
Oh, thank God for that. My back's killing me. You sure this is going to work, Bea?
Well, it's worth a try. If we can keep up to date with our work and convince the screws that we're trying to cooperate with them, Mrs. Davidson might not be so eager to replace Vera. And one less screw breathing down her neck could make things a lot easier in the long run.
Yeah, well, I reckon it's done. We're playing right into their hands.
Not if it works and keeps them off our backs.
What is this, a local ladies' sewing circle? Or have you all decided to go on strike again?
We're just taking a smoker, Mr. Fletcher. We can flat out all morning. We needed a break.
Working flat out, that'd be the day. Birdsworth, there's still a load of dirty linen in the kitchen. It's got to be done before lunch, so you better hop to it.
Well, you're in fine form today. What are you doing? Taking a leaf out of Vera's book, practicing to be prison governor?
Smith, you're about as funny as a bad case of shingles. Now, all of you, off your backsides and get back to work if you want any lunch today.
Come on, girls, let's not be too hard on him. He's probably just feeling the strain of having to do all the work.
Still think your little plan's going to work, Bee?
Good time, Doreen. Good time.
Now, you're quite clear on your new duties and responsibilities.
Yes, I think so.
Good. If you have any problems, don't hesitate to ask Mr. Fletcher or myself.
Right. But I think I'll be able to handle anything that comes up.
Well, good luck. Oh, there is just one more thing. A piece of advice, really. Miss Bennett was a very good and extremely hard-working officer, but at times I did feel she was rather unnecessarily strict. I believe peaceful cooperation can make the job a lot easier for all of us.
I'll keep it in mind.
Good.
Oh, nice timing. Just leaving.
Oh, Mr. Fletcher, I've been in touch with the department, and it seems it could be some time before they can find a replacement for Vera. So I have appointed Mrs. Powell as acting chief prison officer.
But that's impossible. We can't possibly run this place with just the handful of officers we've got at the moment.
Well, I know the situation isn't ideal.
Ideal? It isn't even close to being passable.
Well, I'm doing the best under the circumstances. The department knows the position.
Oh, the department. What do they care? As long as this place gives the appearance of running efficiently, they won't do anything. They couldn't care less if we all have to work more overtime and double shifts just to keep this place going.
They know the position is only temporary. Replacements will arrive. In the meantime, I'm asking all the officers to pull together until the problem can be solved.
Oh, yeah, when's that likely to be? We've just lost Vera and Terry Harrison in one fell swoop, and we're expected to carry on as if they weren't really necessary in the first place.
Well, I know how difficult it's going to be, but I did think you would back me up as you have done in the past. I've always known I could rely on you when the pressure was on.
Well, maybe there's just been too many pressures lately, Mrs. Davidson. I'm sorry, but if you and the department think that this place can be run by a handful of overworked officers, even for a short time, you'll soon discover just how wrong you are.
I will give us a shave.
Yeah, Kellen.
Well. What have we here? The Geriatric Rest Centre for Overworked Prisoners. Come on, move it.
Calm down, Colleen. We've got a surprise for you.
And I have a surprise for you. The name is Mrs. Powell. And just you remember it.
Oh, my, aren't we formal? How do you do, Mrs. Powell? I'm Miss Judith Bright, but you can call me Sir.
All right. You've had your fun. Now I hope we all know where we stand. I am now the acting chief officer, and I shall be treated as such. Now get back to work.
Oh, so you're the one who's going to try and fill Vera's shoes. Well, she always was a bit too big for them. I hope you don't get to be the same way.
That'll depend on you, won't it?
Yeah, that's right. And if you can look around, you'll see our good intentions. All the work is finished and has been for ages.
Well, surprise. What is this, a new leaf?
No, just trying to convince you that we are willing to cooperate. As long as we don't have some over-enthusiastic, promotion-happy screw breathing down our necks all the time.
Well, as long as the cooperation continues, we should all get along just fine. Do remember, though, I have been around for a while. I know you all. Don't try and make a fool out of me.
As if we would.
Would we do that?
I know you all, so don't try and make a fool out of me.
We never interfere with the course of nature.
Yeah, well, I've never seen promotion go to anyone's head faster. I think we're going to have to watch her.
Remember what she was like during the union dispute? Turned into quite a different person.
That's right, and this little bit of extra power could turn her into another Vera, and we need that like we need a hole in the head.
All right, mail call. Birdsworth, Clark, Murray,
Got you playing postman, have they, Mr. Fletcher?
Albert.
What, with another couple of officers gone, they might have you washing the dishes and cooking the meals as well.
Yeah, you never know.
Well, still think of all that lovely overtime. You'd be too exhausted to enjoy the extra moolah, though.
Right, that's a lot in here.
Oh, he doesn't seem too happy.
Maybe somebody else. What's the matter, love?
Oh, a letter from Gordon's solicitor. He wasn't kidding when he threatened to take me to court over Sid's will.
Oh, that drongo. What is he, stupid or something?
What do you mean, Bea?
Oh, just a little conversation we had. Don't worry. Listen, we can fight that, Lizzie.
Oh, what's the use? I don't want the money. And with my luck in the courts, I wouldn't stand a chance.
But it's not the money, it's the principle. It's what Sid wanted.
No, Sid wouldn't want it dragged up through the courts. It's degrading. Anyway, if it means so much to him, let the vulture have it.
Oh, Mr. Fletcher, I was hoping to see you.
Well, if it's about what I said before, I haven't changed my opinion. I don't think this prison can be run efficiently with the staff situation the way it is.
I'm aware of that, and it is what I wanted to speak to you about.
Well, go on.
Well, I had the impression before that you felt I didn't agree with your views, and I wanted you to know that I do agree, wholeheartedly. In fact, when you left the office, I rang the department again. I'm going to try to bully them into submission.
Do you think it'll work?
Well, if it doesn't, I shall keep trying until it does.
Well, good luck.
Oh, there's just one more thing.
Well, is it urgent? I've still got these staff rosters to do. I'm late with them already.
Yes, I realize that, and I think it is important. I want you to keep an eye on Mrs. Powell and let me know how she handles things.
What, you want me to spy on?
Oh, no, of course not. But in your capacity as deputy governor, you would be more aware of how she's coping in certain areas than I would be.
Well, she's always coped before.
Yes, but there might be a slight difference now that she's had the promotion. She's always been very heavily involved in union matters.
Oh, yes. Well, after all, she is the union rep.
Well, unfortunately, she'll have to give all that up now. As acting chief prison officer, she has to be completely impartial.
Well, does she know this?
Yes, and she's indicated that she's interested in the promotion.
Well, in that case, I don't see there'll be any trouble. All right, Mrs. Davison, if I get the opportunity, I'll keep an eye on her. Now, is there anything else?
No, that is all. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher.
He's nothing but a bloodsucker.
Yeah, you can't just give in to him, you know.
Why not? What does it mean to me? I don't even want a house.
Yeah, but it's not just any old house, it's Sid's.
And he wanted you to have it. Gordon's got no right to it. He didn't pay for it.
That's not what it's all about. I loved Sid for himself, not for his house. Anyway, Sid wouldn't want me dragging his family through the courts.
But Sid was a battler. He'd be furious if he knew that Gordon was trying to rip you off. And I'm sure he'd want you to fight.
Birdsworth? Mrs. Davidson wants to see you in her office.
Oh, is it about the solicitor's letter?
Oh, she didn't say.
You seem pretty sure that Lizzie's still going to win this house.
You bet I am. And with me helping Lizzie, Gordon hasn't got a chance.
Damn it.
What's the problem?
Oh, trying to work these rosters out, it's like trying to play chess with half the pieces missing.
Well, everyone is aware of the problem, but they all know there's going to be extra overtime and double shifts involved.
But I just realised that I've given Officer Bailey 72 hours straight. Now, I think that's taking the bonds of loyalty a little bit too far, don't you?
Look, put me down for that one if it helps.
You're already working double shifts here and here.
Well, if I want to make this promotion permanent, I suppose I've got to show Mrs. Davidson I'm willing to carry the extra workload.
Well, the department will really appreciate that. They'll send you a lovely wreath when you drop dead from exhaustion.
I'm stronger than I look.
What about your husband and kids? What do they think about it all?
Patrick, oh, he won't mind. After all, it's extra loot. And Mum looks after the kids, so they're used to that by now.
Great sort of family life.
I'm not the sort to sit around watching telly and doing the mending. They understand that. Listen, funny thing just happened in the laundry. I went in to check up on them, and they're all sitting around their backsides doing nothing. When I started to reprimand them, it turned out they'd all finished their work. Well, they must have been going like steam engines to get through the laundry in that time.
Really?
Smith said, if we cooperate with them, they'll cooperate with us.
Fascinating.
No, they're up to something. I wonder what it is.
Quite frankly, I couldn't care less. Now, would you please give me some peace and quiet while I can work these out?
You'll get ulcers eating and working at the same time.
So that's what I thought you wanted to talk to me about.
Oh, no, Lizzie, I didn't know about the letter. And what are you going to do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
No. I can't see the point. What's the point in having a house on the outside when you can't even see it, let alone live in it? It'd only go to wreck and ruin and all good. I'd hate that.
I see. Well, I do have some news for you which may change your mind.
What sort of news?
Well, as you know, Mrs. Morris applied to the parole office to reopen your case.
Yeah, but she cancelled that application when I decided not to marry Sid.
Yes, I know she advised the department, but the bureaucratic machinery, being what it is, failed to match up the cancellation with the original application. So the application for parole went right through to the Attorney General's department.
Is that bad? Will I get into trouble?
No, Lizzie, it's good. Because the Attorney General reopened your case and your parole has been granted.
Oh.
You'll be released 4 weeks from today.
Oh.
Wonder what's keeping Lizzie. She'll miss out on her lunch.
Well, if it's anything like yesterday's menu, you can't blame her.
Well, the mood she's in at the moment, I think she cares less.
Yeah.
Change the mood?
Oh, what happened to you? Don't tell me. Gordon fell off his bankroll and broke his neck.
Oh, no, Gordon, guess what I just heard? My parole's come through and I'm getting out in 4 weeks. Mrs. Davidson just told me.
Oh, come on, you lot. What are you up to?
Oh, Mrs. Powell, you'll never guess what I just heard.
You're probably right, so I won't bother. Get in the dining
Oh,
room.
but Mrs. Powell.
I will not tell you again. Move it. Come on, keep the noise down or you'll all be up in front of the governor.
Oh, Mrs. Powell.
Come on, move it.
Oh, just like old times.
God, there's no way to make sense of this system, is there? If you apply for parole, it takes months for them to have a hearing. If you cancel your application, then the whole thing goes through like that.
Yeah, it's something to remember, all right. The very next time my parole comes up, I'm going to say, I don't want it, and then I'm sure to get it.
Yeah, I think the shock's been too much for her. Come on, Lizzie, what's the matter?
I was just thinking, my parole's come through a bit late, hasn't it?
What are you talking about?
It's better late than never.
Is it? What happens now? I'm worse off than when I started.
Now, how do you mean?
Sid's gone. He was the only reason I ever wanted to get out of here.
Look, Bob. Now there's another reason. Sid's house. The one he wanted you to live in and look after. Think about that.
Hey, look at this. Mouse has put her name down for the attendance centre.
Could I see you for a moment, Smith?
Oh, yeah, sure, Mrs. Davidson. Right, you lot. Remember, I want you to be on your best behaviour. Now the screws are understaffed, they'll be very towy. We've got to make them believe there's enough of them to handle us.
Oh, well, it really goes against the grain having to be goody two-shoes to creeps like Pal.
Yeah, but it's only for a little while, you know, until things settle down. Anyway, doesn't mean that we can't have any fun at all. How about you and me getting a fake notice of our own?
We'd have to ask B first. Would you have a look at those two? If they get any closer, they'd have to get engaged.
I wonder what's going on.
Oh, well, maybe Mrs. Davidson is asking B to take over her job, seeing they're so short-staffed.
Well, she may as well. B runs the place more or less as it is. Well, what you want?
Just a private chat?
Didn't look like that to me.
Didn't it? Anyone want to play a game of cards?
You know, I don't mind doing what B says and getting our chores done on time. I don't even mind being polite to the screws if I have to, but taking on extra work makes me feel like I'm sucking up to the screws.
Me too, but I suppose she knows what she's doing.
I hope so.
What are you doing?
Oh, just mopping the floors, Mrs. Powell. They're in a hell of a mess.
Who set you this job? You're supposed to be on your break.
Well, look, the floors are just looking a bit grubby. We thought we'd do a thorough job, that's all.
Oh, all right. I didn't come down the last shower. What are you up to?
Oh, good afternoon, Mrs. Powell. Hey, Jude, you've missed a bit just here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you excuse me a minute? I just want to get this little grubby bit here.
Smith, no one was given any instructions about cleaning these floors.
Well, just because we're stuck in here doesn't mean that we like to live in filth.
Well, just hurry it up, will you? You're blocking the corridor.
Oh, look what you've done.
Congratulations, girls. It's as nice a bit of screw baiting as I've ever seen.
You know, it's almost worth the extra work just to see the look on her face.
Smith?
Ah, yeah. I just saw her putting some buckets away.
Thank you.
I could give her a message.
No, thank you, Burns.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. I could probably find her quicker than you could.
No, thank you. I want to speak to her personally.
Oh, Ju, have you seen Bea?
Isn't she in her cell?
No, I just looked. Only Lizzie's in there. She's having a bit of a rest. I think all that mopping of the floor has made her tired.
Yeah, well, we're all tired. I think Bee's going to have to call off this cooperation with the screws routine before we all drop down exhausted.
Yeah, Mrs. Davidson just come into the rec room a minute ago looking for her again.
Yeah, they're as thick as thieves, aren't they? Did she say what she wanted?
Nah, I tried to find out, but I didn't get anywhere. She said it was personal.
What do you reckon she's up to?
I don't know. Hey, you still want to be in with this phony notice for the notice board?
Yeah? Suppose it beats crawling to the screws, huh?
Yeah, well, I've got this real good idea how we can do it. See, we sneak into Davo's office, and I'll pinch some of those official letterheads, and that'll make it look even better.
Sounds great. What are we waiting for?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got the feeling there's something in the air.
Yes, it's called tiredness, usually caused by overwork and not enough sleep.
No, I don't mean with you. I mean with the prisoners.
Oh, really? So what's new?
This afternoon, Smith and her gang suddenly decided that the corridor floor needed cleaning again. I caught them in the middle of it. When I asked them what they were up to, they very politely told me they'd taken it upon themselves to do it because they didn't like living in filth.
So what's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that? You don't think it's a little suspicious?
No, I don't. Look, what's the matter with you, Colleen? You scream at them because they won't work, and now that they are working, you start complaining about it. What do you want?
Oh, I'll tell you what I want. I want tighter security. Okay, it may look innocent to you, but they know we're short-staffed, and I think they're trying something on.
Well, quite frankly, I couldn't care less if they all rioted and tore the place apart brick by brick, as long as they wait until I'm outside the gate. I am fed up with Wentworth, the department, the officers, what's left of them. And right now, I'm going to the pub to get stinking drunk. Good night.
Okay, now, I'll knock twice to see if she's in there. If she doesn't answer, I'll sneak in, pinch the letterheads. Want you to stay out here and stop anyone trying to come in while I'm in there.
Yeah, but what if she answers the door when you knock on it?
I'll tell her I'm feeling crook and I want to see the sister.
Yeah, I can see that. And they're sticking out of your pocket like a flagpole.
Can't help that. Me pocket's too short.
Well, stick them down the front of your jumper. Oh, that's terrific. It makes your boob lopsided. Why did you get so many?
Oh, because I thought they'd come in handy sometime.
Come on, let's get out of here before we get caught.
I wonder what Bea and Davo were talking about.
Yeah, that was a bit suspicious, wasn't it? It's not like Bea to suck up to the screws.
Yeah, I know, but I suppose she'll tell us when she's good and ready.
She'd better, because it's making me nervous. What are we going to do with those things?
Oh, well, I've got a couple of ideas, and I thought we'd go down to the rec room, write out a few, see which one's the best.
Yeah, but listen, we've got to make it more official. Why don't we get Alison to type them up in reception?
Oh, she wouldn't even be in on it, even if it was for a joke.
So, we lean on her. Oh, hi. I thought you'd still be working in reception.
Oh, I have been. I'm on my afternoon tea break.
Well, I thought the screws would let you use their staff room, you being a trustee and all.
No.
Listen, we want to have a little word with you.
Well, can it wait? I'm due back in a couple of minutes.
No, it can't wait.
Well, they'll miss me if I don't get back.
Oh, relax, will you? We're not going to hurt you or anything.
No, we just want to ask you a favour,
Favour?
Yeah. We want you to do some typing for us. We thought you'd help out.
What is it you want done?
Oh, nothing much. We just want to play a little joke on the screws. You know, a phony notice on the notice board.
Oh, no, I can't. If I get caught, it could mess up my chances of getting out of here when I'm supposed to.
Oh, come on, love. You won't get caught. It's only a gag.
Look, it's not that I don't want to help. I told Bea that, but I have to think of my family. I mean, they've got enough problems without my being stuck in here longer than I'm supposed to be.
Told you the little suck wouldn't do it.
Well, you were right.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I'll tell you what you can do. When I go back, the receptionist goes off for her afternoon tea break, and Mrs. Powell relieves her. If there's some way you can find of creating a diversion to get her out of the way for a few minutes, you can sneak in and type up the notice yourselves. I'll even keep watch for you.
Thanks a whole lot.
It's worth a try.
Well, how are we going to create a diversion?
You've obviously never heard my Officer Barfield impersonation.
No, but I reckon it'll be terrific.
It'll be great. Now listen, this is what we're going to do. It's Joan Barfield here. Look, I'm stuck in maternity, and I promised Mrs. Davidson I would unlock the library at 4 o'clock. I was wondering, could you do it for me?
Oh, Joan, no. Look, I'm afraid not. The receptionist, she's at afternoon tea. I'm the only one here apart from Paige. Well, you know, she can't be left alone. Oh, can't it wait?
Oh, no, it can't. Look, you know what a stickler she is for punctuality, and I did promise her I'd do it. Oh, look, I've got to go. Couldn't you do it for me, please? It'll only take a minute. And Paige isn't going to run away. She gets out next week.
I'm just going down to unlock the library. I'll only be a few minutes. If anyone calls or the phone rings, just ask them to wait.
Right, Mrs. Powell.
Here she comes.
Let's get on with it. Right, you keep an eye on the corridor. Doreen, you watch the main door.
I just said you could type.
Can type. This is two-finger typing. Haven't you ever heard of it? Now just shut up and watch the door.
She'll only be gone a few minutes.
Will you get off my back? I'll never get this finished if you don't shut up.
How much longer?
Oh, shut up. Why'd you have to make this so long?
Well, if I'd known you were such a crummy typist. You better forget it, because Mrs. Morris is on her way in. Oh, come on.
Hello, Alison, all alone.
Hello, Mrs. Morris. Mrs. Powell just stepped outside for a minute. She won't be long.
That's all right. I'll wait.
Keep them on the table.
Hey, look at this. To help boost the number of volunteers required for the new attendance centre, see this notice, extra classes will be run to benefit inmates. These will include How to Lay Bricks by Ivor Sore-Ass Fletcher, Grovelling Your Way to Success by Colleen Powell, and I Was a Brickie's Mate by Erica Davidson. Interested parties, please sign below. Well, I think Colleen Powell sounds the best. I might sign up for hers.
This wouldn't be some of your handiwork by any chance, would it?
Bea, we'd be blamed if the cat had kittens.
Listen, what about you? You going to sign up?
Sounds like just what I need. I'm a virgin. Hey, Lizzie. You going to write your name on the list?
I'm not going to be here long enough to get any fun out of it.
Oh, it's just a joke, Lizzie.
I know, love, but I just don't feel like laughing.
Oh, God, if we'd all heard that our parole had come through, we'd be laughing our heads off.
But you're young, love. You've got something to live for.
Yeah, well, you'd have something to live for, too, if you weren't so stubborn. Sid's house, the house he wanted you to have.
Well, even if I got it, I'd be stuck there all by myself with nothing to do.
But you loved that house. You were always raving on about it. And the garden, you always liked gardening.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be anybody there, not now or ever, and I'd go round the bend in a month.
Well, do you reckon you could hold out a bit longer than that?
What are you talking about?
Well, it looks like I might be getting out of here soon, and, well, I might come there to live with you.
Oh, do you really mean that?
Yeah, well, you were going to come and live with Kevin and me when we were married, and now that we've split up, well, I can't see why you don't return the favour.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I certainly wouldn't knock it back if it was offered.
And there you are. You could go into business. Lizzie's guest house for homeless crims.
Oh, what a ripper idea. Now, why didn't I think of that myself? That's wonderful.
So now have you got something to live for?
Oh, my oath. I'm going to take that leech to court, and I don't care how much it costs, and I'm going to win.
Well...
Good on you, Lizzie!
Quiet. Birdsworth, Mrs. Morris is here to see you in your dormitory.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Powell. That's the very person I wanted to see. Don't you get it? You know the reason Mrs. M has called on me at this very moment? She's the one who can help me. It's a sign from Sid.
Oh, Lizzie, you look marvellous. Mrs. Davison must have told you the good news.
She sure has. And I just don't know how to thank you, Mrs. M.
You don't have to. It's all part of the job. And I must say, a very pleasant aspect of it, too.
I guess so.
Well, I suppose it's a bit early yet for you to have had any thoughts about what you're going to do.
No, Mrs. M, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Well, that's marvellous. What are your plans?
I'm going to move into Sid's house, fix it up as best I can for when Dor comes out. And Jude, too. And even Bea and any of the others if they want to.
That's wonderful, Lizzie, but it may not be quite that simple.
I know that. Nothing ever is. But it's going to happen. I've had a sign from Sid.
But Sid's son, Gordon, is it?
I know him. God, he'd suck a blood bank dry, that one. I had a letter from his solicitor this morning telling me he was going to take me to court if I didn't give up Sid's house.
Yes, I heard.
Yeah. Well, first I was going to give in. I didn't want to drag Sid's family through the court. I didn't think that'd be right. But I now know that Sid wanted me to have that house, so I'm going to fight it. And that's where you come into the plan.
Me? I don't understand.
Don't you see? You were sent here today to help me. I want you to go and find out how I can go about defending this case, what sort of lawyers I need and all that sort of stuff.
Lizzie, I don't think you realise the costs involved in a case like this. I mean, win or lose, it's going to take a lot of money. Now, why don't you let me go and see Gordon and see if I can get him to agree to some sort of compromise?
Compromise? Him?
Well, maybe he's not all that bad. Or at least let me go and talk to him.
All right, Mrs. M. You go and try and talk to him, and then make arrangements for the court case.
But there may be no need for a
Oh,
court.
Mrs. M, I know his type. He's not gonna give an inch. And neither am I.
Hey, I like this one. Who put Vera Bennett's name down for the grovelling your way to success course?
I would have thought she already had a degree in that one,
Hey, Alison, I don't see your name down here.
Oh, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I was a bit preoccupied while Judy was typing it.
Preoccupied? I thought you were going to wet yourself.
I bet the officers have a fit when they see this.
Yes, you're right, Paige. The officers are going to have a fit. Who's responsible for this rubbish? Look, it's not going to be difficult to find out, so you may as well speak up now. Okay, let's see. Typed on official letterhead stationery. Not handwritten, but typed. Now, who's the one person who has access to a typewriter here?
No, it wasn't me, Mrs. Powell. I didn't do it.
Really? Then who would you suggest? Who else had the opportunity?
Well, I don't know. All I know is I didn't do it.
Yes, I can see that. Guilt written all over your face. Let's go and see the governor. I think you can kiss goodbye to an idea of any early release.
Well, our stupid joke has backfired. And she didn't want to do it. We practically forced her into it.
I don't feel too sorry for her yet. When it comes to the crunch, don't kid yourself. She'll lag on us.
And apart from what's written on the page, there's also the case of stealing, Misusing prison stationery and forgery.
Forgery?
Yes, your name's forged at the bottom of the page.
But I didn't do it, Mrs. Davidson. And why should I do something like that and run the risk of being kept in here any longer?
Because you didn't think you'd be caught. That's why you're here in the first place. This is what happens when you allow prisoners to work administration areas.
Mrs. Powell, I made it a rule that at no time was Paige to be left alone whilst working in reception. Was that rule adhered to?
Yes, I suppose
Then it
so.
appears to me that if she had typed the notice, someone would have seen her.
Well, she was the only...
Yes.
Nothing.
Alison, did you type it?
No, Mrs. Davidson.
Very well. Under the circumstances, as there is no proof available, I would not like to endanger your chances of being released on time. However, I must warn you to be very careful about abusing the trust we have placed in you. Any similar situation will not be treated so leniently.
Thank you, Mrs. Davidson.
Thank you for seeing me, Mr. Humphrey.
I won't ask you to sit down. This will only take a minute. I take it you've come about my solicitor's letter to Mrs. Birdsworth.
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact.
Well, I can't see any point in you and I having a discussion. I've made my position perfectly clear, and there's no reason to use you as an intermediary.
Well, surely there must be room for negotiation. Isn't it possible for you and Lizzie to come to some sort of amicable arrangement?
There's only one amicable arrangement as far as I'm concerned, and Mrs. Birdsworth is perfectly aware of what that is.
I'm afraid she doesn't agree with you. I spoke with her last night. She's going to fight the case.
And she's being stupid. Doesn't she realize what that can cost?
Yes, and she can afford it. I've never seen her so determined. But surely does it have to come to that?
That's her choice.
Lizzie didn't ask me to come and see you. I offered. Now, surely there must be some way to avoid the hurt and expense a court case will involve.
Oh, yes, there is some way, and that's for her to give up this stupid idea.
She said I'd be wasting my time. It appears she was right. Good morning.
So what are they going to do now?
Well, nothing as far as I can make out. Seeing that they couldn't prove I did it, it's all been left up in the air.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get into trouble, love.
Thanks, Lizzie.
Thank you for not lagging on us.
Yeah, I guess I was wrong. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe I'm starting to learn the rules.
Yeah, maybe you are. Colleen Powell is going to be a real pain. Something is going to have to be done about her.
Yeah, but what?
Don't know yet, but don't worry. It'll come to me.
Oh, Mrs. M. No luck, eh?
I'm afraid not. You're right about Gordon. It was a waste of time.
I knew it would be. But don't worry, and thank you for trying.
Birdsworth, you've got a visitor.
Who is it?
Gordon Humphrey.
Speak of the devil.
You can say that again. Will you come with me, Mrs. M? I'm not afraid of the mongrel. I just don't want him to bamboozle me with all that legal stuff.
Of course.
If he tries to stampede you, love, just give us a yell. I'll fix the little rat.
Mrs. Morris, I thought we decided that I didn't need you as a go-between.
Lizzie asked me to be here.
I want her for a witness.
A witness? What for? If this had been a legal meeting, I'd have sent my lawyer. I just wanted to have a little talk.
Then talk.
Mrs. Morris tells me you've decided to fight the case.
You're damn tootin' right I am.
Oh, that doesn't seem very sensible, does it? Don't you realize what's involved? All the worry, the strain, the muck-raking in the courts. I mean, it could go on for years. You're not exactly a young woman anymore. And what's the point?
The point is that Sid wanted me to have that house, to look after it. The last time you had it, you put them tenants in and they practically wrecked it.
Don't you realize you haven't got a chance? I mean, you weren't even married.
And whose fault was that? You threatened to turn his grandchildren against him, so I called it off. You're a greedy, money-grubbing vulture.
That's great coming from you, isn't it? Isn't that the reason you picked him up in the first place?
I didn't pick him up, I loved him.
Loved him? Ha! At your age, don't make me laugh. He was a sick old man. You realize he wouldn't have long to live, so you decided to sink your claws in and get all that you could.
That's fair enough.
You never lied, do you? Oh! Mr. Humphrey, either you get out of here now or I will not be responsible for what happens.
You better do as she says. Not that'll do you any good, because I'm going to fix you just like I said.
Well, if you think Well, I'm going to let the likes of you move into the house. You've got another think coming. Now, you've shown me your weak point now, the grandchildren. Well, I'll make sure they have something to remember him by, the true story. He was a simple-minded old fool who was tricked into making out his will to a greedy, grasping, cunning old woman who persuaded him that she was in love with him. Well, that'll make a fine story to tell the grandchildren, won't it?
And what did Mrs. Morris do?
She calmed Bee down a bit and then sent us off back up here.
Well, you're lucky she didn't report you.
Oh, she understood how we felt. I think she would like to have thumped Gordon herself.
Could I have your attention for a moment, please, ladies? I am aware of your practical joke on the notice board. However, I would like to point out that the original is genuine, and we really do need volunteers to help clean up the new attendance centre. It is to be used for first offenders with light sentences, or maybe people on remand to keep them out of the atmosphere of the larger institutions.
Any chance of us ever getting there?
Yes, to work.
Oh, yeah.
The chosen volunteers will be permitted to wear civilian clothes.
Hey.
But only a small number will be allowed out at any given time.
Oh, gee, it'd be worth it just to get out of here for a while and wear different clothes.
Anyone who is interested is to leave their name on the list before the end of the day. Thank you.
Well, what do you reckon?
Anything that's going to keep people out of here can't be all bad. Okay, come on, let's do it.
You reckon I ought to put Lizzie's name down?
Yeah, why not? A day out of here might keep her mind off her problems.
Yeah.
I just know Paige had something to do with it. But Mrs. Davidson said as there wasn't any proof, she'd overlook it this time.
Well, it wasn't all that important, surely. It was just a bit of a joke.
Wasn't your name on the notice? Oh, they've all been acting so strangely over the last couple of days. Nobody gives a damn.
You're overreacting a bit, aren't you?
If we let them get away with little things, they're only going to try for something bigger. That reminds me. What was that I heard about Smith and Birdsworth having a rumpus with Gordon Humphrey?
Well, it wasn't exactly a rumpus. Bee was only trying to help Lizzie, and it just got a bit out of hand. Well, I was there, and I didn't think it worth reporting.
Well, that was a bit out of order, wasn't it? I mean, it's not as though you're still a prison officer here. Oh, come on, all of these disturbances.
Oh, Colleen, calm down. Getting to sound just like Vera.
Hi, Lizzie. Why don't you come down to the rec room? Because I put our names on the list for going to the attendance centre, and Mrs. Davidson's going to tell us which ones can go.
No, thanks. I don't feel much like it at the moment.
Are you all right, love?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just a bit tired, that's all. You two go on, I'll catch up with you later.
Well, I just think it's the wrong time to be starting a new project when we're so short of staff.
There will only be 6 prisoners in the first batch. 2 officers should be able to handle them. And as I said before, it will take a certain amount of trust on both sides.
2 officers for 6 prisoners, it just isn't enough. Especially when the 6 prisoners, they're going to be in civilian clothes, able to wander about a building with no security fences.
It is my decision and my responsibility.
Well, it may well become a union matter. 2 officers out at the centre leaves us another 2 short here.
Mrs. Powell, may I remind you, you can be either acting chief prison officer or union representative, one or the other. Now, I suggest you make your mind up very quickly which one it is to be.
Well, why isn't Lizzie here?
Well, we asked her to come down with us, but she said she wasn't up to it at the moment. I'm real worried about it, Jude. I reckon this running with Gordon has really knocked her around.
Well, I think it's more than just that.
What do you mean?
I think it's a build-up of everything that's happened over the past few weeks. First the wedding been on, then off. Sid dying. She took all that pretty calmly, remember? And now a parole, and finally all this trouble with Gordon.
Yeah, I wish there was some way we could get at Gordon.
Oh, there is, love. Lenny Travers. He's already been made aware of his existence.
Lenny Travers, oh God, you didn't, did you?
Yeah. I think perhaps he might need a gentle reminder.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if you'll all settle down, I'll let you know who will be going to the attendance centre. Murray, Stokes, Smith, Burns, Birdsworth, Trapp.
Oh, tough luck, Jude.
Oh, well, better luck next time.
I I expect all those selected to behave themselves and work very hard to get the centre into shape. I must stress, this is not meant to be a picnic, but I do hope you will enjoy yourselves. If you have any questions, I'm sure Mrs. Powell will be only too happy to answer them. Thank you, Mrs. Powell. You may carry on.
Keep Pal occupied. Doreen and I'll sit down and tell Lizzie the good news. Might cheer her up a bit.
Hey, Miss Powell. I thought you didn't think this was a terribly good idea.
No, I don't. And I warn you, anybody taking advantage of the situation out there will be in for serious trouble.
I don't know how you can say that. I mean, haven't we been good girls lately?
Exactly. And you're not fooling me for a minute.
Hey, Lizzie, guess what? The three of us got picked. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Lizzie. Everything's going to be okay, honest.
Dor, I just realized Sid's dead. My lovely old Sid is dead. And I'm never gonna see him anymore. Oh.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside, and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too when morning comes around. Last night I dreamed we were together, sharing all the love we'd known, till I had to face the nightmare of waking up alone. On the inside the roses grow, they don't mind the stony ground, but the roses here are prisoners too when morning comes around.